So today's video is going to be a bit longer than usual because honestly there are way too many weekly anime right now. So today itself I watched 4 new weekly anime and I currently thought why not make it a long video instead of making a short video and rushing through all the details that I have to speak in under 60 seconds. So here it is, the big video which I'm talking about a lot of weekly anime that I currently watched. So let's dive in. So the first one is Jujutsu Kaisen Culling Game Part 1, which got aired today. And let's just say it has started very well. Let it be the animation, atmosphere, and the tension are already there. And one thing is, if you haven't watched the recent JJK movie, which I guess was in theaters on December 2025, you might feel a little small gap in the story itself, but nothing confusing. Overall, it is a solid start and expectations are high from the start itself. And the second is Chain Soldier Season 2. And yes, this one is back with heavy fan service, but also solid action and a unique world. It has a unique story as well, but overall, Season 2 hasn't dropped in quality so far. Animation is stable, fights are fun, and it knows exactly, and you might know exactly what kind of anime it is and why are you watching this. So if you enjoyed Season 1, this is an easy continue. Now, the third is The Invisible Man and His Soon to Be Wife. Now, this one surprised me because this is an office romance anime where our protagonist, male lead, is invisible and our female protagonist is blind. And somehow they understand each other better than most anime couples. It is wholesome, calm, and honestly, really sweet. It is one of those anime which will make you smile through years to years. Now, the next one is MF Ghost Season 3. If you liked Initial D, the most best racing anime, MF Ghost Season 3 keeps delivering those same kind of intense races, technical driving, and that same adrenaline rush which you will love in Initial D. So it is like a continue of that same Initial D in his MF Ghost, and this is the Season 3, or I could say Season two's Part 1 or Part 2. Now, the next one is A Gentle Noble's Vacation Recommendation. In here, the story itself, it is a lot different. In here, our protagonist is in a fantasy world, gets summoned into a different fantasy world without his knowledge. So instead of panicking, he thought, why not just treat this opportunity or this situation like a vacation and enjoy being in this vacation and just forget about getting back to the older world. Now, it is very chill, very relaxed, and surprisingly fun to watch. Now, the next anime is An Adventurer's Daily Life at Age 29. This one is feels like more like a fantasy slice of life anime, where our protagonist is a 29-year-old adventurer living quietly in the countryside. Then he meets a younger girl who reminds him of his past. They team up as adventurers, and that's the premise of the first episode. And it all over feels like nothing much on the action side, but more on the slice of life fantasy side premise anime. Now, the next one is Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord. And yes, there is more to this anime. The title is huge. Let me pick up the proper name to it. So it is like Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord. Production magic turns a nameless village into the strongest fortified city. Yes, that long name. So in here, it is the classic reincarnation setup where we could see our protagonist is reincarnated after getting died and is a salary worker getting died and reincarnates into this isekai world, gets a useless skill, but eventually makes it the best. That's what it feels from the anime itself and the title. But overall, it feels like something new, something interesting. Let's see how it goes in the future. Now, the next one is The Demon King's Daughter is Too Kind. Now, this anime is pure sugar. I mean, it is so sweet. In here, the premise is the Demon Lord is someone who conquers the world, goes around and try to expand his territory. But instead, he somehow one day stops all of this because his daughter is born and his daughter is too kind. She helps humans, monsters, everyone. And the Demon King becomes a full-on doting parent. And you will be smiling the whole time. And it is one of those anime which is really, really sweet and just blesses your heart. Now, the next one is Yoroi Den Samurai Troopers. Now, this one looks like, or I could say, I didn't had any expectation from this. When I saw the name and such, it felt like will be like a normal Power Rangers kind of thing. It won't be having much action. But I was wrong. It has good action. It has the proper depiction of who are heroes, who are villains, and the massacre that the villains do, and the blood and all such things are really there. And the animation itself feels fresh and kind of new. So it is one of those anime which feels like an underrated one, which will grow into a good anime. and I really have high hopes from this one. Now, the next one, which is there was a cute girl in the hero party, so I tried confusing. So most of the anime, isekai anime, we see that protagonist is a hero and he tries to defeat the demon lord, and eventually the demon lord is lost and humans get peace. But in this, our protagonist is reincarnated into that demon army. So instead, so even though he is the strongest, he didn't try to defeat the demon lord and try to become a new demon lord because he doesn't want that much of attention. So instead, he becomes a general and tries to fight the hero party. And in that, he finds a cute girl and he tries to confess, and yes, he gets rejected. So bad. But eventually, he starts to try harder with doing a lot of things. Now, that is the premise of this anime. Now, the next one is the Darwin Incident. Now, this one stands out from the rest of one because we have seen isekai, fantasy, romance, office romance, slice of life, and all these things. But this one is a science fiction anime where what if a human and a gorilla had a child? It is weird, right? But it is serious. That's the premise of this anime. This anime is the story surrounding that our protagonist is a child between a human and a gorilla. It is like a science experiment, and somehow he is born. It is interesting, and it is one of those anime that is worth watching from start till end. Now, the next one is Isekai Office Worker. Now, in this, an office worker gets summoned by mistake along with a high school girl. So, she was like getting summoned by someone, by the saints, or I could say magicians of a fantasy world. So, instead, he saw why not save her by why not save her, something like that. So she was getting summoned and he tried to save him from that summoning circle and such. So he also mistakenly gets summoned through the circle itself. Now, I'm confusing here in bit, but I hope you understood the premise of it. So, the kingdom gets a new saint, that is the high school girl, and eventually gets an office worker as well. So, instead of giving him his powers or giving him a role of a hero, he tries to say, like, why not I just work here as an office worker or something in the court, in the royal court itself. So, he tries to become an office worker in the king's court as well. And that's the premise of this anime. I have confused a lot with this anime, but it is, I hope you understand the proper premise of this thing. Now, the next one is Kyoki playing death games to put food on the table. Now, there is a lot more name to it, but this one is something I really had interest on. I haven't watched this anime, but it is something that I really loved because the starting 2 minutes of the episode, it had good really animation. The let it be the girls or the characters, the animation, it feels really unique. And the story is about dead games, like you can see the YouTube Mr. Beast games and all these things like that thing, but dead game. Most of the people will be dying, and just to get food on the table, they are doing this. That's the premise of the story. I haven't watched it fully, but if it interests you, do get a watch. And yes, there are more new anime which also got aired, like My Hero Academia Vigilante Season 2, and there are many more others which I haven't watched it yet, but if you had interest, do give them a watch. But overall, these are the few or I could say many of the anime that I have recently watched and I really like. So I thought, why not give you a review and let you know about it. Some are action heavy, some are cozy, slice of life, some are weird, like the part-timer torturers, like the torturer's job and such, which I recently told you about in a recent short. So overall, all of the anime are worth watching and entertaining itself. So if any of this caught your interest, do give them a watch and let me know what weekly anime are you watching. This video was a bit longer, but eventually it got all the information of the recent weekly anime. Anyway, that was all for today's video, and I'll be back soon with another weekly anime review.